Well, good afternoon again. Once again, this is Dr. Contrast, and welcome aboard to the Dream Labs. And I really have no idea what took place there. Just a few moments ago, I had to shut down the operation because I put through all the process, and all of a sudden it wasn't recording anything. I didn't notice the time frame up here. So now we've got it running properly here, which is good. It's going to give you a bit of an overview about where we were and what we started to talk about in the program. And I think after last week's program, and then Tara, so you're still there, hopefully? Just to make sure that everything's okay with you. So I apologize for the delay there. So, hey, great. Hey, good afternoon, Doc. How are you? Dakota, nice to have you on board here, and hope all is well with you. And just to kind of give you a quick overview, as a result of last week's program, which I thought was interesting to go through, I just had sat back in the office and began to look at reviewing, for example, where we have been and where we're going to take this program. So I thought just be a programming update here today to let you see what might be coming along. But I think the most important part about that aspect is this, that I think what I want to do from week to week is not just put together programs for just drawing and going through creative stuff, but things that really matter to you, like, for example, Dakota, what you're interested in doing and what you like to accomplish. And Terrace, if you're still with me, please let me know if you got back in there. So I'm really sorry for the confusion on that recording setup on the first run through. So we're up and running here, so it's good. I've got the timer going, so it's in great shape here. But I think I really am very honor bound to make sure that everything we do here has some substance behind it. I just want to be into a situation where you go through sketches for the sake of just doing sketches. And by the way, too, Dakota, the reason I think it's great about what you're sending in, and some of the sketches you send in, it's nice to be able to feed back with that and help you along the way, hopefully in some small way. And I think that's part of the reason why I took a moment here today to just talk about reviewing certain things, when, looking at what we're going to do in advanced systems and what's coming on board with the Dr. Contrast series, and making sure that it matters when we go live every Wednesday. And the first thing I noticed here, as a result of this need today to kind of readjust and think about what's coming here down the line, was simply this. I think I had a great call from a good friend in California who's been watching the streams over the last few years, and he said he called and said, I'd love to be able to join forces with you on a joint communication piece on your program live on Wednesdays. I'd love to do that, Eric, and we certainly would love to be able to put that together. And then on top of that, the next day I got a call from a former student of mine in Alabama, in Birmingham area, and he's doing the same thing. He'd love to join forces. He's an incredibly gifted person. So I think that addition, for example, to the program would be really helpful to have things taking place in terms of other individuals sharing their expertise and having conversations about certain things in the industry. Would be really interesting to add another dimension to the Dr. Contrast program. So I think that's one of the situations I've been really kind of putting my heart and soul into, to make sure the changes that come really become very, very effective. Do I want to focus more on industrial design, but I like other things sprinkled in, such as transportation, mechanical robots, maybe even doing a study from some SID. Yeah, I think that'd be great, Dakota. Thank you for the input there. I think those are the things I begin to think about as well. More than just, for example, going through drawing, but getting into mechanicals, robotics, transportation design, and helping you in industrial design areas. And the seed mud work would be just absolutely phenomenal. I mean, that guy, he was my drawing instructor at CCS for all 5 years. I was just so privileged to be in the same classroom with that guy. And I've not forgotten, for example, what he had taught me, and I'm trying to pass on the torch a little bit. I'll never be a Sid Mead, obviously, but the things he taught me were just timeless. I'll be very candid with you. There are days when I come into work, for example, over the past, this is somewhat 40 years ago, be coming into work and I was like, oh, that's what he meant. He taught way out there in terms of being such a spectacular individual, and he shared that experience with us tremendously. So I'm glad you brought that up, Dakota. That'd be a really good thing to do. So we'll add that to the list. But I thought I'd go through today some of the things that we're kind of dealing with in terms of this Dr. Contrast program. And again, the commission pieces are coming along. This is a piece I started to do a little pencil sketch for a Jaguar F-Type for a client here that approached me to do some commission work. So that's a little pencil rough I'll start to put together, maybe send to him to get some approval, make some adjustments here and there. But with regard to commissions, when I do these kind of things, I want to make sure I get their permission to do these things live, so you can see the process as we go through the idea of putting together the sketches, whether it's automobile, product, architecture, interior space, whatever the program is. I want to make sure we share that on this program. Another commission I got was from an individual who's a Formula One fan in Toronto, Canada. He noticed some of my work from a fellow associate that works with him, and he notified me he'd love to have me do an advanced vehicle Formula One concept machine for Ferrari, and so I'm going to have that's a commission coming on board. And yet here a day or two later, I got another call from a good friend of mine in Pennsylvania who just purchased a C7, beautiful machine, and he wants me to do a commission piece for him to put in his office. So the commissions are coming along, and but again, grateful for that. But at the same time, I want to make sure that if they come, I'm going to get their approval to make sure we put it on the program to show you how it's all done and to help you through the process here. So is that something you'd be interested in looking and going through with me, Dakota, hopefully? And once again, and Terrace, if you're there, let me know if you're in. So I'm very sorry for the inconvenience of the first pass at it. We didn't have the recording system set up here, but working now is great. So far, so good. What do you think, Dakota? That aspect of it interesting to you? I get, especially your interest in industrial design and transportation design, some really good automotive work to kind of give you a spark and inspiration about how to put together process and media effects and technique and so forth. Happy to do that. Very, very easy to do. So thank you. And moving along here too, I think some of the things I've got, pardon me, on the list to put together for the program from week to week are everything from, I've got, boy, pardon me again, I've got a lineup coming up, for example. I'm in, hope my messages are coming through. Not yet, so far, Terrace. Try to send it again here. I hope I've followed up the thing on your end too. So, a very difficult thing. I thought, we're firing away here, and all of a sudden the recording button wasn't running here, so I had to start all over again. Very good. So I think some of the things I've got on my list to do here, I've got a whole list, and I've got to cover all 5 disciplines, for example, or 6 disciplines in the design world. I think I'm going to start doing, for example, I've got some work lined up to do for advanced concept for Bentley, the EV series and so forth, and coupes and sedans and SUVs. So that's going to be a process that we're dealing with here. I've got some Chevrolet truck work to maybe work on, and I've got some landscape architecture coming along from clients here in the area. Product design will be there as well. Some educational things in terms of getting into some programs, for example, like we've done in the past with the circles and line weight and so forth. But and also I've got, I'm sorry, I've got this. All of a sudden, this cop. I think one of the most exciting things I've got too. I've got been asked to do some development work for Star Citizen in California, doing some advanced tactical work on aircraft design. So that's going to be fun to deal with as well. So there's a lot of variety here that's coming on board from the Dr. Contrast side. Landscape architecture, product design, architecture, interior space. So I want to make sure we change that format from week to week. So are those, for example, Antares and Dakota, are those things that be interested in me putting together here as far as format goes? And while I'm at it, too, I really appreciate the fact that both of you have been sending emails about information and sketches you're doing. But if you take a moment and just sit down and say, I'd like to be able to see the following or interview the following, such as you've done, Dakota, and your message here, it'd be really, really cool to put that together. Because I think it's important that the people who watch, like yourselves, both you and Dakota and Antares, that you become part of the process here and part of the package and Dr. Contrast from day to day and week to week on putting together the program. So anything you've got in terms of lineup could be really interesting to work with here to help you along the way. So I'll be going through, I've got a whole list of things. I've already made a list of projects coming up for the next 5 or 6, 7 or 8 streams. And those are things I put together, but it'd be nice to have your input about what you'd like to be able to as well. Neat stuff. Will do. I think that'd be great to have that put together. Just keep bringing the sketches along. Keep asking, for example, Dakota, in your case, what kind of things in industrial design can we help you with a little bit more of to kind of pass you along the way. And keep it active. So it'd be nice to have that. And you as well, Antares. I know you're very heavily into architecture. So maybe we can do some more stream work on architectural work to kind of keep you active in the whole concept of putting all these pieces together for you. So it's been really neat from that point of view too. But I think the most exciting part of it all is that what I think is unique about this program is that we don't fall in love with any one given discipline, and at least I try to move it around quite a bit and change pace and come back with more instructions situations sometimes it's just illustration, sometimes it's just technique. And I think what you're beginning to see here, I think I might start next week with this aviation study, as this conversation I've had with some of the people in California with Star Citizen doing advanced vehicle aircraft design could be really interesting. And again, I'm so sorry. Hold on a moment. Raspiness is coming up here. But I think back to the Star Citizen lineup, what they do is very, very unique in terms of advanced vehicle concept work. So the commission, the thing you want me to work with them on is what's the next generation of aircraft going to look like? What kind of platforms can we kind of deal with? What are the absolute materials, color, texture, pilot location, engine systems? So all that's going to take place in terms of getting this program to Star Citizen. I think I'm going to do that starting next week, a full-blown start to finish. And I think I'll start that process too with something maybe you've not seen before, Dakota and Antares. I know Antares has, but interesting how with that whole process of Star Citizen aircraft technology, I'm going to start with empathic sketching. And I think it'll be interesting for you, Dakota, to see this thing come together. Empathy is a means of working with a contact crane and just doing form studies and shape and line studies and converting them into packaging designs and aircraft technology designs. And I've used empathy, for example, in everything from automobile work, architecture, interior space. It's a universal, deep, creative thinking process, and I think you'll really enjoy seeing that come together here once we start this program for Star Citizen in these aircraft studies. And let me interject with that here. And Terrace, if you're still there, can you hear me okay? Because I have not gotten your messages through. So please continue to try, and I'll address them as they come up on the screen here as we go down the line here. So what do you think, Dakota? Does that sound like something that'd be interesting to kind of change the venue on from week to week and make sure we're not caught doing the same old boring stuff from week to week here? And especially in your case, if you're looking at more of the industrial design, which I really respect what you're looking for, and you're chasing it nicely, just maybe put together a list of things you'd like to see in transportation design. Is it packaging? Is it formatting? Is it overall sketch rendering skills? Different varieties of sketch rendering skills. Those are the kind of things I'd love to be able to do as well. So the whole idea, from my point of view at this end, is to strictly realize that I'm working with you. It's not about what I'm doing. It's about what you're wanting to see and what you want to grow with and how you want to change the venue and how to change your perspective on certain things to become massively improved and taking care of those things so well that you grow with it every time you go through a sheet of paper and so forth. So let me stop here for a moment and I'll address any issues you might have, Dakota and Terrace. And boy, I really hope we get your messages through. I'm looking forward to answering and addressing those things that you might have. So, and that's just one here, for example. Just a quick little pencil rough. There's some things I want to adjust to it. And just to come back to this commission piece here. There's a couple of things I want to adjust to it, but overall it's kind of there. But I'm going to take this guy and tighten down a little bit, and maybe keep it nice and loose like this. I want to find out what he wants, and then take care of that as we go through the lineup here. So, these are the kind of things I enjoy doing: showing you where to start, how to begin to define it, and taking it through stages: pencil sketch, application of materials, how to use materials, and so forth, as we go through the lineup from one sketch rendering to another. So what do you think, Dakota? Is that could be something you might be interested in seeing? I'll just hold on here for a response and make sure we answer it properly. In the meantime, maybe hopefully save my voice. I'm really sorry about that scratching. It's just terrible. I think it's interesting, too, for example, that what intrigues me is the variety of things we work with from the creative point of view. Just the creative side of it is just amazing, for example. I'm not fallen in love with any one given area, even though I was trained as a transportation designer. I'm just intrigued by the fact that how that whole system in transportation design spreads out into all the elements we deal with: product design, architecture, aircraft design. In fact, if I had not gone into transportation design, I started a program in engineering school with engineering, for example, aeronautical engineering. I just love aircraft. It was absolutely great. But the more I moved into it, the more that discipline and studied it, I didn't want to be tied onto a board doing engineering work. I wanted to create these things and help maybe develop them. So that's what I focused on when I went to school in terms of design, just like you're doing now, Dakota. Really interesting thing. And by the way, just a quick question for you. Are you progressing with, are you looking at schools, or are you just still working on your portfolio? What's the status of where you are now? And the reason I'm asking that is if I can be of any help here to give you some direction or a letter of intent or recommendation, I'd be happy to do that to help you get that started in your career change. So no problem whatsoever. Oh yeah. Boy, Terrace, once again, for the third time, I really hope your message, are you still there? That's the most important thing. Hopefully you're still listening in here. If you are and can get through, please let me know, and we'll add to that as we go down the line here with you. So, but I think, Dakota, you're embarking on a very interesting career here, and I think you're going to really enjoy it because your skill set is there. You've got some really good, interesting things to work with, and you have an idea of basic technology and basically the system you're dealing with. But I think it's getting the more finesse down with your sketches, and I think the last series you've done, what you sent me, was really, really well done. And again, all was needed was a little more punch and a little more drama, and you've got it taken care of here. So, I think the progressive side is, and it doesn't take an awful lot of time. It takes an awful lot of practice, and I practice all the time. And I think one of the nice things about this program that's given for me is to develop the skill, a little bit of skill base I have, and to pass it on, hopefully, to the next generation of talent like yourself. So neat stuff. And but I think as far as programming goes, I mean, those are the things I've got. I've got some things coming in from landscape architecture, doing a park design for a group in the northern part of the state, and also in the Midwest. So I'll be putting that live. I've got that all set to go here, so that's kind of neat. So as we go from week to week, remember I go down the line from aircraft, back to transportation, and back to, for example, maybe some little product work and just sketches and form studies. And I'd like to be able to do some speed form work too. I think it'd be kind of neat. As of now, I'm not looking for schooling because of the financial aspect and logically behind it. I like moving, but I do want to create a portfolio. That's great. If you're going to create a portfolio, and I don't want to be intrusive here at all, Dakota. But if that's the case, please send me the information that you have, if you can, and I'll keep it very proprietary. And we'll look at some certain things and give you some advice and hopefully what you're putting together. But I will say this in the very beginning. If you want to create a portfolio, one of the strongest aspects you'll have in that portfolio is your ability to sketch. I just know, for example, I do a lot of review work with corporations looking at portfolios, and the number one thing that individuals in the industrial work industry look for is sketch rendering skills, ideation studies, not finished renderings. That's your reasonable service, and you'll learn how to do that as you go. But I'd really strongly recommend in your portfolio, start putting together a variety of sketches from all kinds of different things, for example, everything from even down to plant life or to geometry of some sort or aspecting work, just sketch rendering skills, ideation stuff, product work, interior space, automobile stuff. The more variety you have, the more accessible it is for employers. So you've got a broad range of skills here that we can kind of fit you into certain areas here. And begin to not pigeonhole you or stamp you, but give you the opportunity to work with a lot of different things. So does that make sense, Dakota? If you kind of do so, we'd love to help you. So that's neat. I mean, it's just good to know that. And I think it's a smart move, too, about schooling, for example, Dakota. You're not really tuned into the schooling system whatsoever. I'm a firm believer, for example, if you kind of work hard and put together the portfolio you're going to be building and then change that variation on certain themes, that's going to be a real strong aspect for you to work with as well. So I'm not worried about the financial aspect. I'm worried about what you do. What I am concerned about is helping you maybe put together a real powerful portfolio that is less verbal and much more visual. So they see what the depth of your skill set is. It'll be really fascinating. So that'll be fun. But again, back to today's stream, I just felt really strongly as of last week, for example, to sit back and take a bit of a minute and review where we are and what I want to do with this program in terms of adding things to it to make it much more intriguing and more beneficial for the viewing audience. So I think that's going to be really cool. But again, the lineup is such that it's going to change from week to week, and I've got some things already lined up that'll be of some help to us. But again, want to make sure that they really matter. For example, things that you're really looking at here, and what you want to develop, and what you see in terms of what would be important to help you advance your cause. So, not a problem whatsoever. Absolutely not a problem whatsoever. So, and once again, and Terrence, I hope you're doing okay. I just really feel badly about the fact your messages aren't getting through here. So, maybe after the stream is over, you can drop me a note or an email or a text and let me know what's happening here, so we can kind of address any questions you might have had. So as it stands, I think that's where we are here today in terms of putting together what I feel is a very strong program of what's coming down the line here for Dr. Contrast. And it's all going to depend on what you want to see. And again, I hate to be redundant here, but it comes down to you, the viewer, and what you want to accomplish. Now, I've got things lined up here for the next 8 to 10 weeks, some interesting program work, but I'm willing to change that based on the need that we see coming in from week to week. So not a problem whatsoever to send emails along. Hey, would you like to see? I'd like to do this. What about this? Certain aspects of the creative process can be really, really helpful. So good stuff. But I think it's not a matter of I've not, believe me, with all sincerity, I've not lost my enthusiasm. It's gotten more so. I've become much more enthusiastic because I've got to work with great people like yourself and other individuals on the screen. But the client base I'm working with has just been absolutely phenomenal. I mean, it just changes all the time, and it's been consistent. And what I'm learning is the consistency of it all is such a really neat thing, is that they really enjoy the one-on-one conversations and the feedback from my end of it to them in terms of, hey, here's your idea, but when looking at this, what about this, and this, to get the program put together nicely and strongly. So I think that's important. I mean, it's not about your skill set, it's your people skills. How good are you in terms of responding? Hey, Antara, testing, you got it. How about that? You're in. Is that good? Can you hear me okay? How about that? So you made it. Very cool. Now, the next thing is, any questions you might have had, make sure you kind of crank them out there. Uh-oh. Error. YouTube is not receiving error. What? Open Studio. Wow, how about that? I just got this warning flag up here on the screen again here. Open Studio. Let's see what happens here just for a moment. No, I don't want to do that. I'll wait a little bit here. I'll wait a little bit as we kind of get this all set up here. Let's go back to chat here. There we go, back at it. Sorry about that. I just got this warning thing up. Error, YouTube is not receiving enough, whatever it is, in Open Studio, so I'll have to get that corrected here. But as long as you're there, testing, how about that? And Terrace, you good, okay? Any questions at all before we kind of put the wrap on this thing for today as far as review goes? Let's see here. I got, let me type back in here. Let me type something up here. Well, let me continue on here for a moment. That's really strange. I just got a note from my IT guy that the YouTube difficulty we got here with this message is not on our end. There's something else going on here that's really kind of strange. So, yes, I did receive your messages, Dakota. For the last one you sent was, as of now, I'm not looking for schooling because of the financial aspect and logistics, but behind it, like moving, but I do want to create a portfolio. Really odd. I mean, all of a sudden it just came up. We're back again. And then Terrace, did you get my Dakota? And then Dakota, yes, it is. So far, so good. Boy, I'm really sorry for the fact there's a lot of delays. I think the reason when I started about maybe 2 o'clock, we had a focus come up on it just wouldn't take the recording, so I had to shut it down and start all over again. So my apologies for the delays here today and the difficulties that we're seeing. So thank you so much to Michael for setting that up. It's a YouTube problem, not our problem on our end, but it's still really disturbing. So anyway, we're doing well, folks. So thank you so much. Dakota, did you get me okay? Did you hear me all right? I'll make sure we're still communicating all right back and forth here. And for what it's worth, too, just now in the middle of just to change a little bit of the venue approach here. And Terrace, if you're not receiving this note, let's see if we can kind of text or get in touch with one another after the show today or before the end of the week to make sure that we address any questions you might have had in the interlude here. So thank you so much. And Dakota, are we good? Did you get my message? Hope. Well, the other thing I want to look into as well, now this really brings up an interesting conversation. Again, this is why, for example, I want to make sure that we get our IT guy in here and overlook this program so these kind of things don't happen in the future in terms of messaging, getting the chat system to work, and all the other things that I got. Hey, very good. Thank you, Terrace. So how are you doing? Are you doing okay? Dakota, good? That's good. Excellent. So, but again, back to this kind of points out today why this thing is so sensitive sometimes that I just cross my fingers every Wednesday we're going to get the program up and running here. But that's the first time I've seen that happen from YouTube in terms of some sort of an error. So it wasn't on our end, it was on their end. But begs the question, we want to make sure that we go live every Wednesday. We don't have difficulties like we had in the first few minutes here when I started at 2 o'clock. Just not good at all. So anyway, thank you so much, Dakota. And I really do sincerely mean, for example, that when you start to put some things together, if you have some present sketches you want me to look at, be happy to do that. Send them along. And we'll take the time, because of things happening day to day here in the office, in the studio. I might get a chance to put it right away, get it back to you, but I will get it back to you nonetheless. So with that thought in mind, that's where we are today with Dr. Contrast and the Dream Labs. I just want to give you an overview about what's coming in, what changes are going to be coming about, which are going to be healthy, adding some joint venture programs on the air. We're trying to get that lined up in terms of programming and concerned with individuals who have notified me about the interest in doing so. Commission work is coming along, and also the program stuff. And then the lineup we've got is I've got things from, for example, commissions, 3 commissions that maybe work with, that hopefully that'll help you. Also, I've got my subject matter lined up for Star Citizen material, some Bentley EV, some work, some additional aircraft for Star Citizen. So things are coming along here nicely. I want to make sure we do the right thing as we go from week to week here. So you've been extremely kind to put up with this today, and I'm really sorry for the inconvenience of the scheduling and so forth. But to you and Terrace and to Dakota, sincerely thank you for everything you're kind of putting together here for us and tuning in today in spite of all the difficulties. And I'd encourage all of you, for example, who are viewing here today, hopefully forgive the first few minutes. We had to shut that thing down and start again, but we got it up and running, and we're getting a full record here, so that's good news. And also, please send me a note here at jim@drcontrast.com if I can be any assistance to you. And looking forward to having you come in from week to week and joining forces with us. Please take a look at my website, drcontrast.com. I'll be happy to work with you there, and hopefully some things come out of that. You'll see we're going to add some things to that website as well. And last but not least, I really believe in this with all my heart. Thank you for the patience of putting up with me today to give you a programming overview. I just thought it was necessary to pull back a little bit, give you some insight as to what's coming, and we'll be very active from week to week to week. So next week, we'll go back to a hands-on material thing and material processing. But in the meantime, Dakota or Terrace, if you have some things you want me to look at and analyze, please feel free to drop me a note, and I'll do the best I can to plug it in, and we'll get it started for you. And above all else, last but not least, I always end my program with this because I think a very sincere part of it all. Never forget to dare to remember to be great, because you are. Just be great. Thank you so much for all the viewers coming in today, and especially you and Terrace. And when I'm done here today, I'm going to drop you a real quick note here, and Terrace, to make sure you're okay. In Dakota, sincerely thank you. Keep up the great work. You're doing really, really well. And I'm going to do all I can to help you. So no matter what it might be, just let me know. We can get that taken care of. So thank you so much, gang. Have a great week, and we'll see you next Wednesday. Thank you. Take care. Be great.